vast fertile fields of Louisiana now strain under the destruction of wild boars. These creatures don't just threaten crops, they cost the agricultural economy millions of dollars. Facing this urgent situation, local authorities issued the call to action. Today's hunt isn't just a mission, it's a commitment to protect the lives of the people who call these lands home. As the first light of dawn broke, the team rushed into the Fiat Strada, speeding toward the hotspot. On the way to the field, shadows flashed in the distance, and Jay, the expert driver, instantly predicted their path, giving me the chance to line up the perfect shot. In a split second, all calculations on distance and trajectory aligned, creating an unmissable opportunity. The target fell. We opened the hunt with a decisive victory, a declaration that the crops belong to the people and no enemy will be given a chance. The hunting vehicle tore across the open fields, searching for targets. As predicted, a herd began to infiltrate, aiming to wreak havoc. Jay and I worked seamlessly, firing while maintaining top speed. Shots rang out continuously, but only a few of the leading hefty boars were brought down. These creatures were clever, slipping through every gap to escape. Still, every shot respected local law, an unshakable blend of determination and responsibility. After some distance, I realized the vehicle's noise was frightening the herd, making control difficult. A quick decision was made. We dismounted, weapons in hand, and spread out to encircle the field. Within minutes, new targets appeared. A precise long-range shot took down the lead boar, while the rest were cut off from all sides. It was teamwork, skill, and coordination that turned the tide and quickly stopped the destruction. Think this was intense? Hit subscribe and follow our hunts. Suddenly, a critical tip came from the south. Wild boars are flooding in. Jay and I immediately strategized, signaling Kevin to hold the southern line while we drove the herd toward the trap from above. Here it comes! Every squeeze of the trigger echoed through the field, yet the boar tried desperately to escape. No worry, Kevin had perfectly secured the rear. This is how we fight, with cold, precise teamwork, ready for every unexpected twist. In the blink of an eye, Kevin's fortified position paid off. The black figure of the prey appeared, but with a single gunshot, it fell. This is the price for those who dare trespass into territory that's not theirs. Kevin is always entrusted with this task, because he alone guarantees absolute safety for every checkpoint. What do you think about this strategy? Leave your comment below. Evening fell, and the footprints were still visible in the dirt. Were they signs to continue the chase, or traps waiting to strike? With unwavering determination to protect the crops, we pressed on. Every step took us deeper into danger. And then, the shadow appeared. Not a single one escaped. Every shot rang out with unyielding resolve. A promise that no creature would harm this land again. The wild herd would no longer spread fear. Though we knew shadows still lurked, we headed back after a long, exhausting day. This was enough to protect the crops and give the locals peace of mind. In the Fiat Strada, beads of sweat were proof of courage and commitment, fighting for freedom and safety in this land. Thanks to the local authorities for granting permission, making this hunt even more meaningful. As harvest season approached, fear began to spread across the village. A monstrous wild boar had been ravaging fields, destroying not only crops, but also entire livelihoods. This wasn't just a hungry animal, it was a force of chaos. In the face of this threat, we were called in to take action. This was my first time joining a team of professional hunters on such a dangerous mission. Could I stand my ground, or would I be the first to fall? Let's find out. By 5 a.m., we were already on the hunting truck headed straight toward the Moravia fields. Everyone was fired up, heading into position, according to the plan. With years of experience, the hunters quickly identified the patterns and paths of the boars. While I was still scanning the area, Jay spotted the target. A quick adjustment, and the first shot rang out. A 200-kilo beast had no time to retreat. It went down instantly from a precise burst of fire. It all happened fast, but it lit a fire of determination in all of us for the journey ahead. I continued tracking my targets, and then luck hit. A boar appeared in the open. I followed the steps just as I'd practiced. Boom! A shot more accurate than I expected. Before I could lower my weapon, another figure emerged. I held steady, confident, and took the next shots with calm precision. Victory was ours. Even as a rookie, I felt proud to have pulled my weight and completed the mission flawlessly. Meanwhile, Jay caught sight of a herd grazing at the field's edge. No stranger to the hunt, he acted fast, dropping one after another with near-perfect accuracy. What could have turned into a wave of destruction was stopped before it even began. Without hesitation, I moved steadily along the eastern edge of the field. Suddenly, a herd of wild boars appeared clustered right in front of me. I adjusted the scope, pulled the trigger, missed. The entire herd panicked and bolted into the pine forest nearby. I immediately radioed Jay and the others. The response was quick, fluid, professional, like muscle memory. In seconds, a new formation was in place. We pushed on. No one wanted to let this chance slip. Jay led the charge, navigating the rough terrain with confidence, following every faint sign left behind. When the target appeared again, his finger tightened on the trigger. One clean final shot. The boar dropped. We had stopped it from escaping and saved another part of this land from destruction. Jay wasn't finished. He moved deeper into the forest, knowing the thick terrain made the perfect hiding spot for stragglers. And he was right. With sharp instincts and years of experience, he flushed them out. Every shot found its mark. Boar after boar went down. The battlefield shifted entirely in our favor once more, Jay commanding like a seasoned general, every move precise and unstoppable. After that win, Jay led us forward, not a single moment wasted, every sense on high alert. And it paid off one by one. Targets fell under my sights. Clean shots, no hesitation, no escape. The final call came through, mission complete. But more than just a victory, it was relief. For the villagers, the nightmare had ended. Their land and their peace was safe again. I could hardly believe my eyes. The sugarcane field that had once been my family's hope now lay in ruins. A battlefield devastated by the hooves of a wild boar herd. A whole year's labor destroyed in an instant. What is the price of peace? Today's hunt will answer that. The boar's destruction had exceeded all tolerance, and conventional methods proved useless against their cunning. So we opted for a more decisive approach. Yesterday, we set tannerite explosives at the crossings the boars frequented. The successive blasts shook the area, taking out most of the herd instantly. Yet, some survived, and these survivors became our target today. We knew the surviving boars would no longer move as a herd. Instead, they would hide, stay alert, and act unpredictably. That's why we established a pincer strategy to force them into the open. Silence fell as we took positions on the high hillside, and the hunting dogs were released into the forest. Soon, a dark shape dashed across the open meadow below. Could it escape? Determined not to let it slip away, I locked onto the target and squeezed the trigger. The rifle barked as it crossed the clearing, dropping the prey instantly. That impact alone drove another boar from its hiding place. From another direction, a shadow surged forward. The boar, disoriented by the chaos, ran straight into its fate. A decisive shot rang out, and it was down. The double pressure of barking dogs and successive gunfire turned the forest into a giant trap, forcing the remaining prey to move. We climbed higher to overlook dense undergrowth, a perfect boar hideout. Sure enough, one tried to remain concealed, but it could not escape the eyes of skilled hunters. The crosshairs rested squarely on its body. Its fate was sealed in that instant. The chaos didn't end. A nearby bush shook violently as another boar charged straight into the jaws of death, unaware. I patiently waited until it entered a perfect firing window, then delivered a swift, clean trigger pull, locking the target down. Gunfire once again stirred the forest, forcing the remaining boars to flee. There, another one, about 20 meters away, breaking cover. I tracked every step. As it hesitated, the bullet cut the air, but the beast still managed a brief escape. Putting frustration aside, we pressed the hunt as the evening light waned. About 30 minutes later, the radio crackled. A clever boar was trying to break the eastern encirclement. I received orders immediately and moved to block its escape. There it was! As soon as it happened, gunfire erupted. Still, the animal had strength, frantically running down the hillside. But it didn't know that one of my teammates was waiting at the bottom. Finn, stationed as the final blockade, had received the alert and took position, rifle ready. The moment the boar came into view, he fired. The rifle roared decisively, allowing no chance of escape this time.
In Germany, a silent but brutal war is raging. Wild boars are tearing through farmland, destroying crops and livelihoods. Seasoned hunters have taken up arms, stepping into a relentless pursuit that's far more than just a hunt. It's a battle to protect the hard-earned fruits of the land. This isn't your average hunt. It's a high-stakes mission where experience, precision, and courage collide. Follow these brave hunters into the thick of the forest, where every step could lead to a heart-pounding encounter with one of nature's most ferocious beasts. Will they succeed in bringing these powerful animals under control, or will the wild continue its rampage? Join us on this gripping journey, one filled with danger, determination, and raw, untamed action. The team moved silently, each step careful to avoid making a sound. They reached a high hillside, offering a wide view to survey the entire area. In the distance, a dark shape shifted, wild boar. James raised his binoculars and signaled his teammates to get ready. Nick held his breath, aiming his rifle at the target. They waited, tense as if on a battlefield. This was the moment to strike decisively. A gunshot tore through the quiet air, the wild boar fell. The first victory was won, but the battle had only just begun. Could they continue their journey and quell the wild boar menace? Stay tuned for the next thrilling hunts. James and his team quickly changed positions. They moved skillfully toward a pre-planned ambush site. The atmosphere grew tense, each man silent, fully focused. Less than 15 minutes later, Jake suddenly raised his hand and signaled. Through his binoculars, he spotted a herd of wild boars approaching the area. A gunshot cracked, shattering the morning silence. One of the boars was hit and fell immediately. Not long after, the sharp baying of hunting dogs echoed down the trail, signaling that the target had appeared. James and his team moved immediately, heading straight toward the source of the sound. They hid behind dense bushes, all poised and ready, eyes fixed on the area ahead. The tension was thick in the air. Just seconds later, a massive dark shape burst out from the thicket. Seizing the moment, James squeezed the trigger. The sharp crack of the rifle echoed loud and clear. The wild boar collapsed, motionless on the ground, no chance to escape. Another wild boar was down, ending the threat to the farmer's crops. The hunt continued, but this victory fueled the team's determination. Do you think the shot was fast and accurate enough? Leave us a comment and let us know. After a long journey, the team decided to move to a snowy area in Lower Saxony. Here, another hunting party had already begun tracking wild boars hiding in tall, dry grass. Nick held his position at the edge of a thick patch of grass. The atmosphere grew tense. Suddenly, a massive wild boar slipped out of the grass, preparing for another wave of destruction. Nick held his breath, waiting for the moment the beast fully emerged from cover. He squeezed the trigger. The sharp crack of the rifle shattered the forest silence. One precise shot ended the threat. If he had hesitated even a second, the monster could have caused unpredictable damage to the fields. This victory helped protect the hard-earned harvest of the farmers. On this side, where the snow fell thick and heavy, James faced off directly against a giant wild boar. It stood towering in the midst of the white snowfall, full of defiance. The atmosphere grew tense, almost suffocating. James held his breath, slowly raising his rifle, aiming straight at the target. He knew there was only one chance to end this battle. Suddenly, the boar charged, fast as an arrow. James squeezed the trigger. The sharp crack of the shot tore through the stillness of the forest. Next, Nick had the final target of the day in his sights. Swift as a flash, Nick leaned to the side, reloaded, and squeezed the trigger, determined not to let the boar escape. The shot hit its mark, sending the wild boar staggering. It wobbled, then collapsed into the thick snow. The entire forest fell silent. Only the sound of falling snow remained. A monster was taken down, bringing peace back to this land. Nick stood there, breathing a sigh of relief, his rifle still smoking. The fierce battle against these destructive invaders has come to an end, at least for now here. After the echoing gunshots, the fields have returned to their peaceful state. A heartfelt thanks goes to the support of the local community and authorities who made this mission possible. Though this journey has ended, the fight against wild boars continues in many other places. Stay tuned for the next chapters, and don't miss the thrilling and meaningful.
In many vast agricultural regions across the US, especially in states like Texas and Florida, Wild boars cause billions of dollars in damage. With their rapid reproduction and herd behavior, they devastate crops, uproot soil, pollute water sources, and even attack livestock. Today, our team set out at dawn. Pickup trucks rolled forward, carrying experienced hunters and advanced equipment. Our mission? To enter the hardest hit areas and stop the spread before the new growing season begins. At the break of dawn, we arrived at the first hotspot. The biting cold of a Texas winter seemed to freeze everything in place. In an environment like this, every sense must be pushed to the limit. Any trace in the snow is a clue, and any movement could be a target. The morning mist turned the snow-covered dry forest into a deadly arena. When the wild boar appeared, time seemed to freeze. I squeezed the trigger. The bullet struck like a powerful lightning bolt, taking down the target in an instant, restoring peace to this land. Looks like today's start is off to a smooth run, folks. While I got off to a smooth start, on another front, my teammate faced his own challenge. John was assigned to guard outside the edge of the forest. The world was silent behind his noise-canceling headphones, with only the cold rifle stock in his hands. John focused all his fear into a single aim, and boom! The beast collapsed onto the snowy ground with only a few steps between them. He let out a sigh of relief. Peace had returned. For the sake of the crop's safety, David braved the freezing cold, tracking the destructive beast's trail along the icy hillside. Suddenly, it poked its head out from the bushes. When their eyes met, it panicked and bolted, but it was too late. A gunshot echoed, ending it all in the blink of an eye. One shot fired to keep the harvest from ruin. We ventured deeper into the dense forest. Here, the game completely changed. Visibility was blocked by countless tree trunks, and every bush, every shadow could be hiding an enemy. We had to move slowly, weaving around each tree root, straining our eyes and ears to catch even the slightest movement. Through the scope, a massive wild boar lumbered into our guarded zone. It wisely paused behind a tree trunk, listening carefully. I exhaled slowly, knowing this was a one-shot chance. Now or never. A decisive bullet struck its fatal spot, taking it down instantly. Mission accomplished. A copper candy flies away, bringing peace back to the village. What do you guys think? Was that shot worthy of a masterpiece? Our mission isn't just to guard one area, but to actively track down lone individuals threatening to enter residential zones. Thomas weaved through dry tree trunks, eyes scanning alertly. There it is! A solitary wild boar on the move. We're not getting any further. His heart raced as he locked it into his sights, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Bang! The threat stopped cold, far from the village. One shot fired deep in the wild, keeping the community safe. Evening had fallen, the cold seeping into my bones after a long day of relentless pursuit. On the way back, I suddenly froze. There stood a hefty wild boar, head down, completely unaware. The perfect final prize of the day. A deadly shot rang out, ending a hunt that couldn't have gone any better. The sun had fully set as we headed back in the Tesla electric truck, closing out a long but meaningful day of battle. From the first shots fired in the biting cold of dawn, to the tense maneuvers in the dense forest by afternoon, it was all for one common goal: protecting the peace of the village. We are grateful for the close coordination of our team, local authorities, and the farmers, those who have stood shoulder to shoulder with us on this journey. With the food sources in the forest running low, wild boars are forced to leave their shelters and venture into agricultural areas, causing significant crop damage. According to a report from the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, this situation results in economic losses estimated at billions of dollars each year. For this reason, we, the resilient hunters, are constantly finding ways to deal with and drive away these increasingly aggressive boar herds to protect our livelihoods. The hunt begins, all for our crops. Before the first light of dawn, the entire forest was shrouded in thick fog, presenting a significant challenge for the hunting team. Although we had equipped ourselves with specialized binoculars, visibility was still severely limited, making observation extremely difficult. However, with years of experience, I remained patient and calm, closely monitoring every movement. Suddenly, a dark shape materialized through the fog. No mistake, it was our target. I quickly raised my rifle, my finger poised on the trigger. A suppressed shot rang out, swift and precise. The prey dropped. The opening shot was tough, given the weather conditions, but we secured a victory. Taking down the first boar in such harsh circumstances was a feeling of satisfaction beyond words. Not everyone has the ability to herd wild boars into one spot, but that's exactly what we're doing. The boars are being driven into a tight area. Look at that! How should we deal with these aggressive creatures? This is how we, the hunters, eliminate a large number of boars, but it comes with considerable risk. At the right moment, I squeeze the trigger, sending the first boar crashing to the ground. Its fall causes the rest of the herd to scatter in all directions. The speed of the bullet can't keep up with the fleeing boars. As expected, I quickly team up with Jack to encircle the herd and take down as many as we can. Boom! The second shot hits, taking down another target. Perfect! We've given it our all. This was a fantastic display of teamwork. Exactly what's needed in a hunt like this. The dry season has come, leaving the fields barren, so the wild boars tend to move towards areas with running water. Despite their cunning nature, wild boars are still driven by habits, and this stream is a prime spot, offering plenty of food and water, making it a regular destination for them. All Jack and I had to do was patiently wait and stay hidden. Suddenly, Jack signaled to me, and without a word, we both knew what to do. The boar revealed itself, and the sound of the gunshot was sharp and decisive, ending its life right there. Quick, clean, and efficient, leaving us with a satisfying sense of accomplishment. What did you think of that shot? Leave a comment below and let us know. There it is! I smell boar! Jack exclaimed as if he had stumbled upon something precious. In front of us was a whole herd of wild boars, engrossed in foraging, completely unaware. It was a tough situation since our team was limited in number, and we couldn't take them all out at once. But sometimes, it's better to take the shot than hesitate and miss the chance. Without overthinking, I chambered around, aimed precisely, and squeezed the trigger. Quick and fluid, the lead boar fell. This was a clear declaration of our commitment to protecting the crops. Meanwhile, on the western side of the forest, James had trapped a wild boar that was casually searching for its dinner. It was completely oblivious to its surroundings, lost in its meal hunt. James patiently waited for the boar to move into the perfect position. Now was the time. His finger tightened on the trigger, and the bullet shot forward. The boar startled, turning back, but before it could react, it collapsed. As we were packing up to head back to the village, the hunting dogs began barking loudly in the forest. They had driven a clever wild boar out of its hiding spot. This was the moment. We weren't in a hurry to leave. Instead, we got ready to take our positions. A herd of wild boars, a fairly large number. The opportunity had arrived, and we signaled to open fire simultaneously, but some of the boars managed to escape. Undeterred, James moved ahead and took down a massive boar trying to make its getaway. Just as it charged out, seemingly about to escape, the sound of a gunshot rang out. The deafening blast marked yet another victory for the day. The challenging hunt has finally come to a victorious end. This is a well-deserved reward for our teamwork and perseverance. How did you feel about today's journey? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for the next episode, where we'll be hunting on the snowy hills, with plenty of exciting moments waiting for you. Goodbye for now, and see you next time!